Monsters, Inc. 2. A film that was in development for a while but didn't quite see the light of day. Instead, we got Monsters University. It was an unnecessary movie, but it was still entertaining. The film stars an 18-year-old Mike Wazowski, played once again by Billy Crystal, who is off to college to become a scarer. When he gets to his dorm, his roommate turns out to be Randall Boggs, played once again by Steve Buscemi. Like Mike, Randall also wants to become a scarer, but is afraid that he won't make the cut. But Mike gives Randall the confidence he needs, and the two of them study scaring together. While studying one night, Mike meets a blue monster named James P. Sullivan, played once again by John Goodman. Sully thinks that because he has the natural talent of being a scarer, he doesn't need to study. And the two monsters form a rivalry. So while Sully's out partying all the time and not taking his education very seriously, Mike studies his ass off to try and prove to Sully that he can be scary. But on the day of the test, both monsters fail, and Dean Hardscrabble, played by Helen Mirren, is not impressed by either of them. Hardscrabble tells Sully that he has the talent, but he's not willing to put in the work, making him banned from the scare program. And she tells Mike that while he's done the studying that he needs, he doesn't have the skill to become a scarer. But Mike sets out to prove that he can be a scarer by joining the scare games. His team ends up being a group of monsters known as Oozma Kappa. But there's one problem. In order to participate in the scare games, your frat team needs at least 5 members. And one of the monsters, who's a two-headed monster named Terry and Terry, only count as one monster. So in order for Oozma Kappa to be qualified into the scare games, they need a 5th member. But who could it be? That's where Sully steps in. He uses the scare games as an opportunity to get back into the scare program. And Mike reluctantly agrees to let Sully join him. At first, the two monsters are at each other's throats. But as time goes on, the two begin to bond and reveal some of their secrets to each other. During the final scare game, they defeat the Roar Omega Roar, who are the top frat, led by Johnny Worthington III, played by Nathan Fillion. Fillion also played Sterling from Cars 3. Randall is also a member of Roar Omega Roar and goes up against Sully in the final challenge, only to get humiliated and form a grudge on Sully. Mike does his final scare and they win the games, only to find out that Sully had rigged the system to make Mike win on purpose. In other words, Sully cheated because he thought Mike just wasn't scary enough. Having had enough, Mike decides to go into the human world to try and prove to everyone that he is indeed scary. But when it fails, Mike finally realizes his limits and he runs away. And after having a heart-to-heart talk with Sully, they decide to go back. But Dean Hardscrabble had cut the power in order to keep the other monsters safe. But Mike gets the idea that he and Sully should work together to try and bring the power back by delivering a big scare. And with the combined efforts of Mike's knowledge and Sully's talent, they're able to succeed. The duo get the power back on, and they make it back to the monster world. This action ends up getting the two monsters expelled, and now they have to look for other jobs elsewhere. Luckily, the two monsters get a job as mailmen at Monsters Incorporated and slowly climb up the corporal ladder until Sully finally becomes a scarer. While this movie isn't nearly as good as Monsters, Inc., it's still a lot of fun, and the music is just phenomenal. Monsters University is one of the movies that does college life right. And overall, I give this movie a 7 out of 10.